Hello. Today we are talking with Mr. Thomas, and our first question for you is to just tell us about yourself. Give us a little bit about your background, where you're from, where you went to school, and what you do now.
Sure, absolutely. I'm a native son of Southeast Texas. Originally grew up in Beaumont, just about 90 miles east of here. I'm currently living here in Katy, Texas. Um, after graduating high school, I went to Prairie View A&M University, just northwest of Houston. Studied mechanical engineering, one of the greatest 4 years of my life. Upon graduating from college, had a great opportunity with a company in which I interned with in the pipeline industry, it took my talents to Colorado Springs, Colorado. I lived there for 5 years, enjoyed the beautiful four seasons. Upon returning back to Texas here in Houston, um, taking on a role with the same company, brought me back home. I've been back ever since. Since then, I've transitioned to another company, which is now TC Energy, another pipeline company. Very proud to work there, and currently working in a role that's called commissioning manager. So I'm responsible for supporting our U.S. gas projects organization. And my team's function is to come into the projects kind of on the tail end, ensuring the functionality of the equipment that's been installed for the project, just making sure it meets all the design requirements and its functionality requirements per the design.
Okay, cool. And you also got an MBA, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
Yeah, while living in Colorado Springs, I did get a dual MBA, Executive MBA, and also an MBA with an emphasis in human resource management. And so the great thing about that was while working in the industry, working for a company, it really allowed me to kind of apply some of the knowledge that I was learning in academia in real life situations. So it really enhanced my education.
Okay, wonderful.
So, Mr. Thomas, it seems from what you're telling us, you're a successful professional. So, motivation is a key factor for a successful professional career. So, what motivates you?
Absolutely. It's definitely my three children. Um, every day I get up and the things that I do, it's all about them and for them. I want to provide a greater life for them than I had. I want to instill in them the values that are dear to me: discipline, education, faith, responsibility, all those things that I feel will make them successful individuals in society.
So the next question is, what are some challenges you faced, and how specifically did you overcome them?
Well, on the job in my current role, we face challenges, every day, and it's great. It's exciting work. Um, Looking at the big picture, even more broadly, when it comes to energy and the energy transition that we're facing as a company, where our industry is based on, fossil fuels, and for the wrong reasons, where we sometimes get a bad name from folks who maybe are misinformed or maybe just intentionally have ill will towards our industry. But just to set the record straight, we all believe in, renewables. We believe in fossil fuels. We believe in all of the above energy. And as a transportation company of natural gas and oil, in order for us to achieve our vision of the energy transition, we're going to have to utilize fossil fuels in the mix to bridge the gap until we get there. There's no way possible that we can flip a switch tomorrow and just become non-dependent on fossil fuels. With the increasing demand, both domestically and globally, for energy, the demand is going to continue to increase. Not to mention the conflict overseas between Russia and Ukraine. That's also going to contribute to the demand and the need and the importance here home for us to produce and be able to provide a reliable transportation of those fossil fuels.
It is said that we learn from our mistakes. In your professional life, can you talk about a mistake that you have made? How did you deal about it? What have you learned?
I've made mistakes often, and my general thought around them is that I use them as opportunities to grow, to learn, to get better. I like to call them lessons learned. Um, in life, you're always going to stumble, you're going to have setbacks, and you may miss the mark. As the great songwriter Marvin Sapp says, when you fall down, get back up again. And so I use that as encouragement and as a mantra to keep me encouraged.
From where you sit, what do you think is the outlook for women and minoritized populations in your field?
Sure, as I mentioned, I have 3 kids, 2 of which are daughters, one of which attend currently a STEM-based charter school here locally in Houston. And so I'm very optimistic on the outlook for women and minoritized individuals in the fields of STEM. As we continue down the path of inclusion and diversity and recognizing that these things are necessary and they actually add value to companies' bottom line, because some companies may be, that may be the driving force, and there are statistics and studies that demonstrate that a more diverse and inclusive workforce has more productivity. Some studies say 3 times more than non-diverse companies and groups. So I'm very excited. I'm very optimistic on the outlook of women in STEM.
Okay.
I would like to expand on this topic. We see statistics and studies, and one recent study says that about 9% of the incoming freshmen female students will choose engineering, math, statistics, computer science. How can we help increase this number? How can we retain these students? How can industry and academia can work together?
Yeah, great question. Continue doing the things that you guys are doing here at UHD, inviting folks like myself in from industry and from companies to spread the gospel, if you will, that inclusion, diversity, women in STEM fields are critical, not just from a standpoint of, from a number standpoint to meet some criteria, but at the end of the day, women can do jobs as equally as men, and they can provide a diverse outlook on things in certain situations that ultimately provide value. And so I think we have to continue sending that message that, women can do all things that men can do. Prior to, modern times, there was, talk and where women couldn't have the opportunity to pursue education to be a doctor or a lawyer or engineering professional. They were maybe told to do other things, maybe a homemaker, but, which is a great career choice as well. I commend those individuals, but it's all about choice. So we want to provide women, men, any individual with the choice that they can be all that they choose to be and reach their full potential.
Thank you.
You kind of touched on this a little bit, but can you talk to us for a minute about the current trends in your industry? Because you mentioned it's going through transitions. So what do you see as the trends?
So in building kind of new infrastructure, new pipelines, we are facing increasing roadblocks from the government. You may be aware of the Keystone XL pipeline. My company was trying to get across the finish line and build. Unfortunately, our permit was revoked and we weren't able to successfully complete that project. And so the scrutiny from the federal regulators is becoming an obstacle more and more. And as I kind of prefaced with earlier, there's a lot of misinformation out there with regards to the fossil fuel industry. And, just for those who are interested, we're one of the safest modes of transportation around. We're more safe than rail car, than trucks on the road. Our record speaks for itself. So I would just encourage folks to do their own research. And again, it's not an either or proposition. We all want a cleaner environment, especially, for my children. I want to leave them with a cleaner, sustainable environment that they can live in for my grandchildren potentially in the future. But it's not a but proposition. It's all of the above. So let's focus and drive towards renewable at the same time, continuing to meet our current needs and demands by delivering this gas reliably and safely.
I would like to ask a question about the successful professional in today's environment. In your viewpoint, what are the top 3 skills for someone to be successful professionally in your particular field?
Absolutely. And this probably goes across any industry, I would say, but you need to be a good communicator. You need to be able to kind of express yourself, but also be able to hear others' thoughts and ideas. Keep an open mind. Don't go into a room with preconceived notions or thinking that your idea is the best idea. Be open to change and to be changed in terms of your thinking. 2, be a good collaborator. Be able to work well with others. Be a good teammate. Just like any sport, football is one of my favorite sports. 11 folks in the field at the same time. If one person missed their assignment, the whole team is going to fail on that play. And so it's similar within industry. If somebody's not pulling their own weight or executing what their responsibility is, the whole team is going to fail. And, I think thirdly, just somebody who, has a respect for others. We talk about inclusion and diversity, being respectful of different thoughts, different backgrounds, different ideas, just being kind of open-minded. So that's what I would say are the 3 most important qualities today.
Yeah, and we've been trying to teach those to some students in one of our programs, and we were just like, this is what industry says, and you just said it. So that we were just telling them about that. What are 3 tips you can give students to help them prepare for a career in your field? So what would be 3 tips you would give them?
I would say, again, do your research. Learn. Prior to me joining this industry, I really didn't know much about it. I just kind of lucked up on an opportunity with the company that I interned with, and in turn landed in this industry. And so I would tell folks to kind of do their research and kind of explore different options. And then also, I'd probably recommend, definitely take courses within STEM, bolster up your skills around science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those are critical. And then thirdly, just, follow your dreams, follow your passion. Because at the end of the day, if you're doing something that you like or that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So, if STEM's for you, great. But test it. See if it's something that you're interested in. But don't do it, for the wrong reason. Do something that you love, something that you're passionate about. And like I said, you'll never work a day in your life.
Along those lines about having dreams and big dreams, I guess, to accomplish things, are there people in your life who have inspired you?
Definitely. First person that comes to mind is my mom. She worked so hard, growing up in Beaumont, worked many hours a day, at times 16 hours a day, really instilled in me the values of education, of hard work, of faith. And without her, I couldn't be where I am today. So definitely give thanks to her. If she sees this, thank you, Mom. Appreciate all you've ever done for me. And that's my motivation.
Awesome. What's the importance of mentors? How do you find them, and who are your mentors?
I do have a few mentors, at my company, and also some old colleagues that I've worked with. And so, some of them just happen organically, just through, working on the job, and you just kind of build that camaraderie. And then others I've sought out. I've kind of seen them from afar at my company in certain positions with certain skills that I admire. And so I sought them out, reached out, and they were more than happy to kind of take me under their wing and kind of share some of their knowledge and skills with me. And we kind of set up some routine meetings where we can just kind of converse and dialogue and kind of bounce ideas off one another. And, believe it or not, sometimes they may glean some things from me as well. So it's a two-way street. So I encourage folks to be proactive and seek out that mentorship.
Wonderful.
What is the importance of who you surround yourself with?
Oh, that's a big one. You are who you hang around. You know, they kind of say, I've kind of heard along the lines of, there's 5 folks in a room, or 5 folks in your circle. You know, you're probably going to be the average of that group. And so, do you want to be on the lower end and growing into the average, or do you want to just surround yourself with yes people and be on the higher end that just makes you artificially feel good? You know, I prefer the first option, where, you know, I'm on the lower end, I'm striving to be better, I'm striving to reach certain goals and targets that they've already achieved. I'm looking to grow. I want to be uncomfortable. I want to be tested. I want to be challenged. And so surrounding yourself with the right folks is critical, because you will become who you surround yourself with.
Very nice. Thank you.
Well, our last question is, what's one piece of advice you'd give to our students?
Be open-minded. You know, again, I can't express enough, you know, the ideas around inclusion, diversity. It's not just about, you know, how you look or your gender. It's about being open to ideas, diversity of thought. And my encouragement to them would be, you know, explore all options, try things, you know, maybe come up short a time or two, fail fast, learn from it, and do something else. You know, test yourself. Don't do what's easy, what's comfortable. Get yourself outside of what you think is possible. And so just be open. If somebody says, hey, would you be interested in doing XYZ? Say, yeah, sure. I'll try it out at least once, maybe twice. Give it a shot. And so be encouraged, be open-minded, and never say no.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.